The Real Jail Experiment, Part 7 of 8. New Blood. The pod thought it had found its rhythm. Shanks and shakedowns. Day 1 chaos. OGs taking control. Pod daddies pushing too far. Fire and hooch tempting the edge. The vote testing the code of silence. And through it all the doors stayed open. But just when the pod thought it could breathe, Sheriff Higgins tosses the curveball. Fresh arrivals, new faces, new blood. The familiar is familiar. You know who is who. You know which buttons not to push. You know who plays spades, who tells stories, who cooks up hooch, who keeps the peace. But the unfamiliar, that can be daunting. That can challenge every fragile balance that's been built. Because new blood doesn't come in asking permission. New blood arrives with its own habits, its own alliances, its own hunger. And suddenly, the pod isn't just an experiment in freedom. It becomes an experiment in assimilation. Do you take the newcomers and teach them the rules of Unlocked? Or do you let their ego and impulse drag everyone back into 23-1? The old heads feel tested. They've been holding the line, proving they could govern themselves. Now they look at these new faces and wonder, are they going to mess this up for all of us? The younger guys see opportunity. Every new body means a chance to shift the pecking order, to test boundaries, to see if the experiment really has teeth. Sheriff Higgins knows exactly what he's doing. Freedom is never just about keeping the doors open. Freedom is about what happens when something unfamiliar enters the system. Do you resist it? Do you fight it? Or do you adapt and grow? New blood is the truest test of whether this pod has matured, because it's easy to hold peace when everyone knows the script. It's easy to keep balance when the roles are set. But real freedom means welcoming the unexpected without losing yourself. The pod mirrors the mind. Every time a new thought enters, you get a choice. Do you reject it with fear? Or do you let it show you where your weak spots are? Do you try to control it, or do you let it transform you? New blood is the unfamiliar thought that dares to enter. And the choice is the same inside a jail as it is outside. Reject it or let it reshape you. Some inmates posture, puffing their chests, ready to test the new guys. Others extend a hand, trying to show them the ropes. The room is tense, like a fragile truce hanging by a thread. Because everyone knows the truth. If love isn't extended to the new blood, the experiment isn't real. The pod wanted freedom. But freedom always demands growth, and growth always comes disguised as the unfamiliar. It doesn't come dressed in comfort. It comes wearing a stranger's face. It comes with an ego that doesn't yet know the rules. It comes in the form of new blood. The deputies watch closely. The sheriff holds his breath. The men in the pod feel the weight, because they know one truth above all. You can survive shanks, fire, hooch, and even a vote. But if the new blood pulls the pod back into fear, it's all over. Unlocked will lock again. And 23-1 will return like a ghost you thought was gone. But here's the beauty of it. The same risk that could kill the program can also prove it works. If the pod can absorb the new blood, if they can teach rather than tear down, then they prove something no one expected. That even in a cage, men can grow bigger than their past. Bigger than their egos. Bigger than the code that kept them chained. It's not about whether the new blood fits in. It's about whether the pod can hold steady when the familiar is no longer safe. This is the test before the final test. Because tomorrow is decision day. And decision day isn't just about whether the doors stay open. It's about whether the men themselves have changed enough to walk through those doors different than they came in. New blood asks one last question. Are you strong enough to love the unfamiliar, Or are you still a prisoner to your fear? The real jail experiment continues. Part 8 of 8, Decision Day.